Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we're going to be going back in time a little bit and looking at the life and the legacy of Roberta Flack. She recently passed away at 88.
Yeah.
And, she's one of those artists. I feel like a lot of people know one or two songs.
Right.
But her story is so much bigger than that.
Absolutely.
And we had this great NPR article all about her career, and I was reading through it, and I was like, whoa, there's a lot here I did not know.
It's really interesting how close she came to having a totally different career.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like before all the ballads and soul, she was actually like a piano prodigy, like classical piano.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, she got a scholarship to Howard at 15.
15, that's crazy.
I know, right? Like, talk about talent. So yeah, we're talking like, she was deep into like Bach, Beethoven.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so like the Romantic period.
Exactly. All that Schumann, Chopin, like all the big ones. But the thing is, this was the late 50s.
Right.
And being a Black classical musician, especially a woman, it was just like a whole other level of difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense, sadly.
Yeah, even some of her teachers were kind of discouraging her from going down that path.
Oh, wow.
It's like, can you imagine that pressure?
Yeah, and it makes you wonder what could have been.
Totally.
But good thing is, her love for music, it didn't go away.
Oh, no, not at all.
She found other ways to do it.
Exactly. So she starts teaching music during the day, but then at night she's playing piano in clubs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, accompanying other singers.
So she's still in that world, even if it's not the concert hall.
Exactly. And then this is where things get interesting. She eventually starts singing herself.
Oh, cool.
And her voice, oh my goodness, it was just magic. So it didn't take long for her to be discovered, and she gets signed to Atlantic Records.
And that leads to First Take, right?
Yep, that's her debut album.
I'm not super familiar with that one, I gotta admit.
It's a great album. You know, it really shows off her talent, like that raw emotion she had.
Yeah.
But, okay, here's a fun fact. It did well, but what really launched her career was actually being on the third Bill Cosby special.
Oh, wow. See, this is why I love these deep dives.
Right.
You find out these things you never would have guessed. Like, that was her big break, a variety show.
I know. It's so different from how things are today.
Totally different world back then.
And then, talk about lucky, Clint Eastwood uses her version of The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face in Play Misty for me.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. Instant stardom.
It's amazing how one song, one movie could just change everything.
Right. And then the hits just kept coming. Chapter 2, Quiet Fire, Killing Me Softly, Feel Like Making Love.
Oh, man, those are classic.
And we got to mention the duets with Donny Hathaway.
Oh, yeah, those are incredible.
Their voices together were just perfect.
Speaking of incredible, did you know she actually broke Ella Fitzgerald's record?
Oh, yeah, with Downbeat Magazine Best Female Vocalist.
Wait, seriously, I didn't know that. How long was Ella's streak?
18 years. To break that, you gotta be something else.
That's wild. What was it about her voice, do you think, that made her stand out?
It's hard to describe, but there was just this rawness to it, this realness. Like, she was vulnerable when she sang. It was just hitting notes, but telling a story.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, there's a reason Killing Me Softly is still so powerful.
Absolutely.
And she's the only solo artist to win Record of the Year at the Grammys 2 years in a row.
Yep, first for the first time in 73, then Killing Me Softly in 74. Unstoppable.
It's funny, though, because I bet if you ask most people about her, that's the song they'd name.
Probably, yeah.
Which is amazing in itself, but it shows there's so much more to her.
Oh, tons more. And here where things get interesting again. So she's at the top of her game, right?
Yeah.
And she decides to slow down.
Really? Now that is interesting. Why do that? Was she burnt out?
It seems like she just had other things she wanted to do, She started scoring for film and TV.
Oh, cool.
Got involved with music, publishing, producing.
So not just performing, but shaping the industry from other angles.
Exactly. And get this, she even went back to school.
Wait, what? Seriously?
Graduate studies in education and linguistics.
No way. She's a Grammy-winning superstar. And she's hitting the books again.
It just shows you how much of a learner she was. Always curious.
Wow, that definitely breaks just a singer mold.
For sure. So many talents, so many interests.
But she didn't give up music completely, right?
No, she kept putting out albums all the way through the 2000s.
Oh, wow.
Another one with Hathaway, a duet album with Peebo Bryson, a Christmas album. Always exploring.
So music stayed with her, even with all these other things happening.
Always. And, when you look back at her whole career, one thing that's really interesting is that she was mainly an interpreter of songs.
What do you mean by that?
Well, she didn't actually write most of her big hits.
Oh, that's interesting. Because back then, songwriting was the thing, right? To be a real artist.
Exactly. It was all about authenticity, being a songwriter. And sometimes she did get some flack for not writing her own stuff.
That seems kind of harsh, though, doesn't it? Like, she brought those songs to life with her voice. Who cares who wrote the words on the page?
Right. It raises that question, do you have to be a songwriter to be considered a great singer?
Yeah, like, what do you think? Because look at Sinatra. He didn't write his hits either.
Exactly. And Ella Fitzgerald, all these greats, they were masters of interpreting. Like, they took other people's work and through their performance made it their own.
And Roberta Flack was doing the same thing?
Absolutely. It's that connection to the emotion of the song. That's what makes her so special.
It makes you think about what artistry really is, you know, not just creating something new, but bringing your own view to something that's already there.
That's a great point. And that actually leads into another cool thing about Flack. She was really good at blending genres together.
Oh, yeah.
She's actually considered one of the people who helped shape Quiet Storm. R&B.
Quiet Storm R&B. I'm not sure I know what that is.
So it's like this subgenre that came up in the 70s. It's got that smooth, mellow sound, usually romantic lyrics, kind of sophisticated.
Okay.
Like, think late night vibes, slow jams, that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
So she was one of the pioneers of that sound.
Cool.
But she didn't just stick to that. She had rock, folk, jazz, even that classical influence popping up.
So that training really stuck with her.
It did. It's all woven in there. It makes you wonder, did that background give her a different way of approaching rhythm or phrasing?
Yeah, good question. Because clearly she wasn't afraid to, like, break down those genre walls.
Totally. She was doing something new and exciting.
And you can hear that in every single note.
Absolutely. A true innovator. And she paved the way for so many artists who came after, especially in the neo-soul movement.
Wow. It's incredible when you think about how much she accomplished.
Yeah, and how she kind of like kept pushing those boundaries.
Always trying new things.
It's really inspiring, but, you know, there's another part of her story that's, well, it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, the article mentioned she had some health problems later on.
Right. In the 2010s, things started getting tough. Performing became harder, and then in 2022, she was diagnosed with ALS.
Oh, wow, that's so sad. I can't imagine.
Yeah, really tough. But even with all that, you know, she found ways to keep going.
That's amazing.
She actually co-wrote a children's book while she was dealing with ALS.
Wait, really? A children's book? What? Tell me more about that.
It's called The Green Piano: How Little Me Found Music. It's this beautiful story based on her own childhood.
Oh, that's so sweet. It's like coming full circle, right? From this little girl who loved music to this icon inspiring a whole new generation.
Exactly. The book's all about young Roberta, how her dad fixed up this old piano so she could practice.
I love that.
It really shows how music was just a part of her from the beginning.
And that even when things were tough, she still wanted to share that love with others.
It says a lot about her, doesn't it? That strength, that generosity.
Absolutely. So thinking about all this, I guess the big question is, how will Roberta Flack be remembered? What's her legacy?
That's a big one. But I think we can start with just how much she did, all the different things. I mean, she was almost a classical pianist.
Yeah.
A huge chart-topping singer.
Genre bender, for sure.
And a children's author. You can't really put her in one box, and I think that says it all.
I agree. She broke down barriers, did things her own way, and created music that touched so many people.
Totally. The article quotes her saying, "My main interest is in telling my story through a song, whether mine or someone else's. Tell the truth with clarity and honesty so that the listener can feel their story."
Wow, that's powerful. It really gets to the core of what made her special.
Right. It wasn't just singing, it was sharing, connecting with people on that deep level.
Exactly. And that connection, that's what her legacy is all about.
For sure.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Roberta Flack's life, we want to leave you with a question to think about. What Roberta Flack song really speaks to your story? And why?
That's a good one. It makes you think about her music, but also about your own life, too.
Yeah, because music can do that, right? It connects with us in such a personal way.
Absolutely. Memories, emotions. It can help us understand the world, even.
And her music, it has that honesty, that vulnerability, that beauty. It does all of that.
So take some time, think about that question. What song is yours?
And maybe as you listen again with fresh ears, you'll find even more in her music.
Maybe even understand yourself a little better along the way.
It's a journey worth taking, and we're so glad you came along for this deep dive into Roberta Flack's amazing life and legacy. Thanks for listening. It's crazy, right? Like how a song can take you right back.
Oh, yeah, totally.
To a certain moment, a feeling.
It's like a time machine, almost.
Exactly. And I think that's part of why Roberta Flack's music is so good.
It lasts, you know.
It really does. It's not just the sound. It's that that emotion she put into it.
Yeah, that realness.
You could just feel it like she's singing right to you.
Absolutely. And that's why I think it's good to like go back and listen to her music again.
Yeah.
With fresh ears. See how it hits you now.
Because we change, right? Our experiences, what we've been through.
Exactly. So our relationship with the music changes too.
Totally. A song that maybe you just liked the beat of when you were younger.
Yeah.
It could mean something totally different now.
It's like those layers we were talking about. Always more to discover.
I'm definitely going to be listening to a lot of Roberta Flack after this.
Me too.
And I hope our listeners will too. Maybe find some songs they haven't heard before.
That's the best part of these deep dives, I think.
Yeah.
Sharing music, seeing it in a new way.
Expanding those horizons, finding those connections that make music so special.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us on the journey.
Yeah, exploring the amazing life and legacy of Roberta Flack.
Hopefully you learned some new things, found a new appreciation for her music.
And maybe even feel inspired to go listen to some more.
Until next time, keep the music playing and don't be afraid to dive deep into those sounds you love.